Welcome to lesson 3 of 10-minute Excel training. Just as a reminder, I'm recording this as per usual. I think a lot of people like to review it after the fact, so I think it's been proven pretty useful. If you haven't already, please open the workbook that I sent out this morning. It should look something like that. Can you guys see my screen? Thumbs up if you can. Sick. All right. So there's when employers ask you, do you know how to use Excel? What they're really asking is, do you know these 3 things? If functions, VLOOKUPs, and pivot tables. If you know how to use them, you are an Excel genius to most employers, I would say. So today we are going to talk about if functions. If functions are not the most basic thing in the world. So if you are a beginner Excel user, you may potentially be a little bit lost. But I'll try to make this as straightforward as possible, but no promises. Maybe review this video when you've studied up a bit. Okay, so the if function. I'll start off with the syntax. The if function syntax is equals if open bracket, and then you can see here that it's calling for a logical test. A logical test is basically a condition that you want to, well, whether or not it meets this condition. Okay. Next, it'll spit out the outputs. The output is if the condition is true, then result in this output. If it's false, then result in this other output. So you can see that an if function is very binary. It's ones and zeros. It's yes or no. Yeah. It'll make a lot more sense once we start working into this. So what I want to show you for this first sheet is if the data in column A is a 1, I want it to show red. If the data is a number 2, then I want it to show blue. So we'll go with the syntax. It's equals if open bracket. Logical test is if this cell on the left equals, in our case, 1, then I want it to show red. Otherwise, if it's not 1, I want it to show blue. Okay. So again, if the reference is 1, if it is actually a 1, then I want it to show red. You'll see that I put it into quotation marks because Excel doesn't like, well, that's how you signify text in Excel, is with quotation marks. So if it is true, then I want it to show the word red. If it's not true, then I want it to show the word blue. Close bracket, press enter, and then you get that. So that works correctly. Our expectation is that if this cell is the number 1, then it should show red. Okay, now we're going to pull that down for the rest with Control D, which was part of lesson 1, I believe, to pull down the rest of that. And we can see that we've got red, blue, red for number 1 and blue for number 2s. Are we following okay so far? Cool. So you can see that it's a very binary output. It's one or the other. If it's not this, then it has to be the other thing. Okay. So following that little note down the bottom, we press Control and page down to proceed to the next page. All right, that looks pretty much the same as our previous page. But what I want to show you guys is that you don't have to put distinct text in as your output. You can use formulas or like cell references as your output as well. So same deal with the syntax. It's equals if open bracket, logical test is cell, well, in this case, A6 equals, I can put the reference here as 1. So from the key, I'll lock that first. If it is equal to 1, then I want it to show the cell in F6 red. And I want it to show blue. Okay. Now you'll notice that I'm locking all of those with the dollar symbols. What that means is when I drag formulas down, those cell references will stay constant. Okay. So you'll see that I haven't added any text. I haven't put in any kind of numerical value. All I've done is cell references and formulas in this case, and it should still give you a similar output where blue is 2 and red is 1. Okay. So with if functions, they're quite smart. So you can tell it to look up specific things based on cell references. You can also put the output as a formula, a cell reference, whatever you want. It doesn't have to just be text. Okay. But again, with that distinct binary of if it is looking up, in this case, the 1 here. If it's true, if it is a 1, then I want it to show red. And if it's not, then I want it to show 2. So it is the opposite, or it's a not 1 in this case. All right, I only have a few minutes left, so we're going to rush. Okay. You'll see here that I now have 3 outputs. Now, what I'm going to teach you quickly is a nested if, which is basically an if function that lies within an if function. Okay, so you'll see in this graph that I'm showing you that originally we had red and blue, but now we've got red and not red. In the situation of not red, I want to put another if function that goes, if it is a different condition, then it'll go blue, and if it's otherwise, then it goes green. So we'll go that again. So it goes if, open bracket, this is our reference, equals 1 in this case, then we want it to show red. Now I'm going to do, if it's not 1, we still have 2 options in this case. We've still got a 2 or a 3. So I want to go if, again, open bracket, our cell reference A6 equals, in this case, 2, then I want it to show blue. And if it is not red, not blue, then I want it to show green. Good. In this case, we have green for the 3s, red for the 1s, and blue for the 2s. Okay, so what that gave us is an extra level of binary. We've got 1s and 0s, but we've got another one nested within the if function, which now gives us 3 potential output options. And similarly, if we go to the next sheet, we're looking for 4 different options now. We go equals if, open bracket, and that's our cell reference, equals to the key. Then I want it to be red. Otherwise, if, cell reference again, equals 2, then I want it to show blue. And then again, another if function, if our cell reference is 3, then I want it to show green. Otherwise, I want it to show yellow. So by nesting if functions within if functions, you can increase the number of potential outputs. Other ways that you can do this is, say, for example, a number is positive, you want something. A number is negative, you want something else. But if a number is 0, you want a third option. Yeah. So then you can actually like tier and layer your if functions to give more outputs. And that's it. Well done. You're an Excel god. Any questions before I wrap this up? Because I think I'm going to run over time.
All good. Thanks, Matt.
You'll understand it more the more you use it. So try to use more if functions, and it will all start to make sense. But for now, that's it. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.